Welcome back to Down to Business. Today I'm here with John Beal of Yardscapes Northwest. Now John, we've discussed how you started your business, how it came from a passion for motocross, that you built your own track in the back, and then that led to you doing lots of projects around, that led into you starting Yardscapes Northwest in 2006. We've talked a little bit about some of the advertising pieces that have worked with you and kind of the emergence of social media and a lot of your customers going out asking questions about what you guys do, what your past work looks like, and kind of trying to understand better because it is a big investment by the consumer groups. We took a look at a lot of the different things you're doing, from your website to some of the mailer pieces down to even your Facebook presence. We have a few recommendations for you to go through. I think the first thing is, you kind of alluded to, people are wanting to know more and more about what their neighbors' experience were with your company. And your website today is still very much a high gloss brochure, if you will, showing a lot of the things you guys do, but not really drawing in the stories of the different yards you have. People love stories, they love photos, and you have some stuff up there, but taking that the extra mile and really kind of building out storylines around that to make the website just a little bit more personal in nature. It would also allow them to also see where jobs are going on, so they feel like, hey, this is not a company that's doing jobs in Georgia and Nebraska. They're doing jobs right here in the Pacific Northwest, which would be a really nice element to things. So really just trying to take the website that you have, which is a great website, but just kind of personalizing a little more, taking the stories that you have of the different jobs. I'm sure you've worked with really fun people in the past. I'm sure there's been yard deals that you guys have gone through or redesigns you've done that have come out way better than you ever even expected. And so telling those types of hints and facts would be a great piece. Just allows people when they come to your website to get a little bit better feel of who you guys are as a company. We always say people buy from people they like, so put that personality on there.
There is a lot of truth to that.
There is absolutely a lot of truth to that. The next thing too, then, as long as you're personalizing, is grabbing more testimonials. So as you're looking at before and after pictures, having the testimonial of the homeowner that you did the work for right next to that before and after picture, because it's easy to see the before and after, and you see the results, but how long did that take? Were they on time? Were they on budget? All of those types of things are things that people are asking themselves, especially when you see a very dramatic transformation of a yard that has nothing in it to a yard that looks spectacular. And so sometimes even things like budgetary constraints can be something that crosses a consumer's mind. So tying in your actual consumers so the testimonials are right alongside some of the work you've done. And you see that with the reviews that you've seen from customers. The next thing that I would go ahead and do is going through and adding even higher in before and after photos from different angles, from different perspectives. There's a lot of different things you can do there. HGTV has become a huge thing where people are so voyeuristic in their nature that they love to see someone's yard go from nothing to something great. So the more you can share that content, the more you can show people, of course, with your consumers' security in mind, but the more you can show of their project, probably the better off you're going to be long term. And even maybe even hiring a full-time photographer that can come out and do different job sites for you could be something that you could look at. But adding more photos so people have more stuff to look at. Photos are one of the most viewed things online today, so it's another great thing to add into your mix. From there, it would be building out your social networking presence. So just continuing to build out what you're doing. You currently have a Facebook page that you're working on, which is great. I would continue to add content to that. Think of different weekly schedules that you can put together. So even a yard tip of the week, or when you're planning a project, here's some tips that we have for you before you even call somebody. Ways of vetting who you're bringing in, contractors. You talked about having the LLC piece to your business back in '04 and how that added legitimacy to it. So all those things that you've kind of learned along the way because you've been doing it for a very long time, kind of as a hobby, then as kind of a secondary income, and then as a full-time income. So you've learned a lot of those things along the way. And they're second nature to you, but a lot of your consumers, this is the first project they've ever looked at, this is the first time they've ever thought about something like this. So any of those insights that you can glean back to them are very helpful. And social media is a great distribution point for those types of tips and hints. Oftentimes when you start a social media campaign, there's the old 60-30-10 rule. 60% of what you create needs to be of value to the end user. 30% can be direct promotion, and then 10% can be personality. So thinking about that and just laying out a schedule of what you want to do each week, because I know that creating content can be cumbersome. It can be hard for you to get onto. It's the last thing you want to do after you've been working all day. So setting up a schedule of things that can allow you to post that content so you have a frame of mind of what you're posting, or even if you sit down for a day and source out content for the next month, it allows you then to be able to be timely and factual. But because it is a conversation, you have to remain part of that conversation on a regular basis. The next things we'd recommend is what you alluded to too, is the review sites. Review sites are becoming more and more important. More and more consumers are consulting them before they call somebody and make a decision on a provider. So going out and checking your Yelp sites, making sure you claim your Yelp site, which is a free thing, your Google Places site, your Yahoo local site. Often when I consult with consumers or business owners, I tell them to go and Google their name or Bing their name, however, whatever search engine you use. Look at the first 3 pages and any review sites that come up under your name, going to those and making sure you claim them, branding them, and then just putting them into a bookmark so that once a week you just come through and make sure there's no new reviews there. If there are, once you've claimed the profile, there's ways you can respond back and forth. And there's nothing more valuable to a customer than whenever they might not have had the experience they wanted, but that response and that feedback mechanism not is only important to them, but downstream those consumers that come behind them want to know that you're a business owner, that if you do hear a complaint or if you do hear a gripe, you're willing to respond to that in real time. So monitoring and listening and understanding what's happening in review sites would be another critical piece for you long term. The next piece of it, and it sounds like you experiment with some of this, but like you're targeting into certain homes with your mailer, even looking at maybe some high-end, a very select few keywords that you can go ahead and bid on. Maybe not on Bing or on Google or any of the search engines, but maybe say around a LinkedIn, so you can actually look at a certain job profile or certain job type and then solicit out to those people as well. The great part is if you know you're working with, say, with a software engineer at one job, he probably has 3 or 4 buddies around that thing. So if in LinkedIn you can go ahead and tie those things together, that's an incredibly important thing because then it solicits that word of mouth that's been so helpful to you in the past.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing we have for you is kind of a bigger idea, but it would be taking one of your projects and actually setting up cameras to do time-lapse photography on it. So if it's a 3-week project, every day or every few times a day, taking pictures of that and then putting that into an animated video. Then be able to host that onto your website and push that out to your other consumer bases, whether that's Facebook or the different areas you're involved with. But that's a great way of actually showing all the hard work that goes into it, but also the care and things that you put in. It's not just driving across sprinkle heads and breaking them, the different ways that you guys take time to make sure that everything that you promise in the job gets delivered on at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then our final recommendation to you would be actually tying in the community piece. So if you do have time, if you guys are sitting around and you have opportunity to go out and do something, it'd be awesome to find a very visual, high relevance nonprofit or business that you could actually donate time to and actually do a Yardscape project for that would allow people to come by and really become noticeable. And doing that on your behalf through your name, and that then also shows that you guys are not just a member, not just another big company, but you're a company that's actually here and has roots within the community. Any questions about any of that or thoughts?
No, you know, actually, I think the time-lapse thing is quite an interesting concept. I've noticed it online a few times, and it catches my eye, and I sit there and watch it. So with that in mind, if I'm doing that, there are plenty of other people doing that as well. And it's just a great way to have something extra on your site.
Yeah, it's hard for you to have video rolling all the time. It can be very expensive to do that, but taking a picture from the same spot on a regular basis is something that you can do, and then mashing that back up into video is a very easy thing, and people love to see that kind of stuff. It's a beautiful piece. And more people are learning to watch than they are reading about things. So finding you on YouTube, those type of things is another great
I also would agree that the LinkedIn thing is quite an interesting system too, because it's a lot of business professionals on there. I mean, it's heavily business professionals. So for a company like me, where I would like to acquire higher end clients, yeah, you get in a network of people and you're a friend with somebody, and pretty soon it's a networking feature online, and it does work.
Well, and I'll say even from your business, though, that you're doing with the banks and the reclaims, you already have a network of people. They only see you, though, as a professional advisor, not as a personal advisor. If you can bridge those gaps, there's a whole pool of people there that you've already established that already know your work and the quality of your work that you can tap into as well. Excellent. Well, I want to thank John and Yardscapes Northwest for the time this afternoon. We hope that you at home have found something that you can use in your own personal marketing plan. For Down to Business, I'm Josh Dirks. Thank you so much for watching.